Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's been a long time coming, so do apologize for this delayed episode. But again, I just wanted to get a recording out. I have been wrapping up with finals. In fact, I've pretty much finished up with everything, so I feel like I'm in a good point to record and edit, release content. It's just been caught up with a lot, which I don't think y'all will blame me for. It's just got to focus on school and getting my career off the ground. So yeah, it's just the next stage of my life, right? Just I do have fall to register for, but that is, I only have 2 classes left for that. So pretty much the major stretch of my school is pretty much done. Once my grades get posted, I will be moving on. So yeah, I've been looking forward to that. So yeah, there's just a lot to talk about in this episode. Really, at least just kind of touching up on what's been happening with me. And of course, there's been a lot that's been happening in the country and the world. And I don't even have any articles. I'm just going to be talking because there's just so much to unpack. And moving forward, I will be more, excuse her, the cat. I'll be more concise with that. But yeah, it's just trying to get this out. This is a interesting point in my life, I guess. It's just kind of, it's kind of hard when you get in the point where you've been struggling for so hard for so long, and then you're kind of in a point of stability, but it's still not enough. Literally, I live pretty much overdraft to overdraft, so it's just I really am trying to budget. I don't even, the only times I eat out is payday, because I have to treat myself. I don't do shit, but otherwise I am budgeting and still not enough. I just gotta find better work, and then, I apply, and I just pretty much have to sit and wait for somebody to respond. At least I do have an interview tomorrow, and I've actually registered for some courses for life and health insurance, so I just hope that I get that finished up. But yeah, it's just a lot. One of the guys actually today was saying oh, can you come down, and because we have a little meeting or business event, and I'm just oh, my car is a piece of shit. So I can't I literally can't drive because my car will break down. It's just weird being in my position where I'm pretty much I'm poor. That's really it. I'm poor, and then I'm stepping into this business professional world, and there's just I'm just not there. I don't even know how I'm gonna get. I just don't know what this is going to look like. This is going to be a completely alien environment for me. Again, I don't like corporate office, white collar environments. I really don't. And, but that's what I have to do in order to get off my feet and have financial stability. So that's the thing. I'm doing all this work and, finding work and getting, stability, but it's purely a transition. Because that's not really what I want to do for my life. The real goals that I have, part of this is, the podcast and other content creation. Yeah, and as I said, I want to buy land and possibly start a farm or, do some other things. So it's all stuff that I have to work towards, which I don't even know if I'll accomplish it, but I just have to work for it. Because this is just the life that I want to live. That's all I've ever done. Is just try to live my life. But yeah, there's just been so much happening, and yeah, there's just a lot to touch up on. So that's at least what I wanted to talk about in this episode. But I'll be talking about some other subject matters and other events, just to expand on it. At least, as I said, I don't really have any articles today, just at least touching up on it, because there's still so much to process, and there's been so much that it's like whiplash. You're just and I really try not to be shocked or surprised by anything anymore, but it's just the next day, something raises the bar, and you're wow, we're really here. That's just it. But at least before I continue, I do want to thank those who are, tuning in. I know, again, as I said, I've been kind of inactive for some time, for a couple months. Again, I just had so many papers and projects to finish up, and then also had to work. And it was just a bit too much. So that's the thing about me. I can't like hustle and grind like 24/7. Like I can't, because it's just gonna wear me down, and then I have a breakdown, and then it gets worse. And that's why I like to take it easy, or at least take some time for downtime, because I have to relax. I have to decompress, because there's more damage and there's more detriments to like my productivity, my mental health, when I'm just like working, and then the work that I do that's like pretty much grinding me to the bone, it's just enough to get by till the next paycheck, and then I'm still like stuck in this position, and then I'm being told that I'm falling behind or whatever, that I'm stagnating even when I'm like really like working. So again, that's the thing about life, is you can put in a lot of effort and you can put in like pretty much like everything into it, and it will never be enough. That's just the way things are. It's just life. But you just got to do your part, and the judgment that may come. I'm like, a lot of times I'm still very like insecure. Like I do care a lot about what people think of me, and I'm trying to like do better on that. But yeah, man, it's just hard whenever you're when you're a person who's a bit different. Again, I talk about how I might be autistic, so I do have some quirks and such. So, I have that, being a little bit neurodivergent, and then also just like not being fully established in a career. And I don't know, I just find myself in environments and situations where I'm just not being respected, or I'm like ignored, and I'm starting to get to a point where like I don't care about it, and that's like a good attitude at least. But I don't know why people are like that. I don't get why people are just mean. I don't know. I realize now that it's not me, because even when I have a bad day, I don't take it out on others. So it's just people being rude, or being judgmental and shallow. That's just the way life is. Yeah, at least like with my neighbors, sometimes like I try to like have some eye contact, or try to like say hello. Again, I'm not really like a big small talk person. Like I'm not gonna like just hold somebody hostage and be like, oh, how are you doing? Like, I just try to be a good neighbor. And still, you just get ignored, or you get like, I don't know, like, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't want to be like that kind of person that people think that I'm up to something. But again, people are going to think what they want to think. There's not much else I can do but just be a good neighbor. At least I know that in some sense it's not entirely me, because some of these people, they just have, they have like loud cars. Like one guy, he has like this loud truck, and he literally like blasts it in like 8-9 in the morning when everybody's sleeping in the morning. Like one time I was taking out groceries, and he like literally like blew out my eardrums. Like my ears are still ringing a bit. Like it's, yeah, this is the kind of people that I have to live around. So that's why I get like worried sometimes when it comes to like a crisis situation, SHTF. Like I try not to be like, oh well, all people are bad, and they're gonna go crazy. But when you're surrounded by people like this, it kind of gives me an uneasiness. It makes me a bit nervous, because I'm just like, can I trust these people in a crisis situation? Because even like now, when I'm trying to at least be cordial, like I still get ignored, or I get treated like some hermit, or I don't even know how to phrase it. Like it's one of those things where like you get treated a certain way, and then it makes you a bit insecure, and then you go into the next social situation carrying that energy, because you're still dealing with this, people think I'm weird, or people think I'm bad, and then you go into a new social situation, and then carrying that energy. I don't know. I'm really like, I've been doing therapy, counseling, just trying to like build up the self-confidence, trying to like let that, I guess, judgment kind of just like wash off on me, because again, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just living my life. That's all I've ever done. But sometimes you can't fix what people think of you. Yeah, I just want to get along. That's all I really care about. But anyway, that's just yeah. What's wrong? I don't know. I think she's in heat. She's been like yowling all day. But yeah. So, just at least to touch up on just some personal feelings and the next stages of life. Again, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just getting by. And it's just interesting seeing, other people and, friends, they're getting into, more stability, getting married. Like a lot of girls that I know now are getting pregnant. So, it's good for them. Like honestly, it's nice to see people like building their families and, get into that new stage in life. Um, yeah, it's just, I try my best. I try to get out there and try to, I'm trying to establish myself in a career, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't really even know what I want to do. I mean, this is what I want to do, but there's just so much that I have to build up to, and then I have to do it myself. Like, I don't really have much support on that. So it's just interesting when you see people doing the things that you want to do, and like, it's good, and you want to like take some notes on it, but it's like there's so much that I have to build towards. Like, really, like, I still just have like this little laptop here, and it works well, and it has good graphics, so I can at least run some software editing programs. But yeah, man, I just need a better set. Like, I really do. Like, I've never had like a proper like computer like system, so I really need to save up for that. But I got to save up for so much more. I got to fix my car. I mean, that's vital. Like, I got to fix my car. Like, I can't drive with it. I mean, I can drive to get groceries, which is like barely 2 miles away. But yeah, I can't put that on the road in Houston. So that's what I'm just trying to figure out. That's why I'm trying to get new work. But then that's the thing too. Now I'm getting new work and trying to step up in the career ladder. But it's more like, it's like, I'm trying to step up on the career ladder, even though like I'm in such a low class position with not much like finances saved up. And a lot of the times with these like professional environments is that they're already kind of expecting you to have that stability and to have that wealth. So it's more like, like I have to get into the job to make the money to be stable, but then you get into the job and they're already expecting you to be on that level of stability. So I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know how to frame it. It's just, when you're poor, it's your fault. That's really just the attitude. Even if I do work and I try to, make the moves that I need to make, anything that bad happens to you, that's your fault. That's the attitude here. But hey, that's all I can do is just live and get by. But yeah, it's just so much, At the very least, I will say, I've been kind of, I've been glad to have a productive semester. I had some classes, mainly history classes, and I had like one like editing class to take. So I've submitted those assignments and papers. Like I had a dissertation to do, which is like, it was like an 18 long page, and what I did was I wrote essentially like the entire history of the Comanche Nation, like a Comancheria, and it was pretty good. Like I'm pretty impressed by what I did. Like I pretty much like had enough to like write a book on. I don't know if I would write a book, but it was just like a lot of research. Like I literally had to look at like Indian Bureau reports from like the 1870s and 80s, just like taking like primary source accounts, primary documents from like the 1840s because there was this raid, like a little war that the Comanches and the Texans had. So I read some documents and reports, and it was just really interesting to get that done, and it really taught me how to like actually like do history research, which is what I want to do. I want to be a historian. That's the degree field that I want to pursue, even though it's not the most lucrative, but it would make me happy because I like research. Like I was literally just like doing this research, and I'm like, fuck, man, I really should get paid for this because like I can write good, I can do good research. It's just fascinating when I pick a degree path that I'm actually passionate about, that I'm good at, and I excel at it. Because I mean, like, with my past years in college, I've been like kind of like just in and out of degrees because like I just didn't know what to do. I'm like, oh well, I'll do computer engineering because that pays well. And then I'm like, I'm not really the best at math. Well, then I'll do psychology. What is wrong? What's going on? She just keeps meowing. What's wrong? Are you feeling okay? What's wrong? I don't know what's up. I think she's in heat, but yeah. What was I saying? So you're picking a degree field that that I'm good at, that I'm passionate about. It's just like, what a shock. I actually do very well with my grades, and I actually know how to. Yeah, it's just crazy to me how whenever you pick a choice, a path that gives you purpose and happiness, and it's discouraged and it's like looked down on, and it's not even like a bad career path. It's just like it just doesn't make the best money because it's like a humanities degree instead of like a business major or STEM degree or a law degree. I mean, that people have told me that they're like, oh, you should go to law school. I'm like, why would I do that? Like people who say stuff like that, like you really don't know me. Like, oh, you should do an engineering path because no, the money's good. And it's like, I don't want to be an engineer. I don't want to be a lawyer or a doctor. Those aren't the fields that I want to do. I want to be a historian or whatever you want to do. You just do it because there's only one life. And what's the point of like working at a job that you hate, but oh, well, the money's good, so I guess I got to do this. Like, you're like, come on, man. Like, get real. That's probably why all these boomers are so like jaded and cynical because they only focus on like the career that will make them a lot of money, and then they have nothing else going on for them, so that's what they have to consume because that's literally their life. They work and then they consume, and then that's the life that they live, and they think like that's just normal. It's like, it's not normal. But you can't really speak to boomers because it doesn't really matter to them like the moral or ethics of the situation. What matters is the control, the power, and the wealth. That's what matters to them. So that's why they only tell you to pick careers and jobs and degrees that are going to pay a lot of money because that's all they care about. And then if you pick a historian like degree path, like history is important. Like, it's very important. And especially now more than ever, and still it's just like something that's like, oh well, it's like a hobby. Like if I say that I'm a historian, I just know that somebody's gonna be like, whoa, well, what papers, what books have you posted? It's just like, dude, like, and again, this is from somebody who's like hasn't even done like an inch, not even an ounce of research into any historical subject outside of like what was like immediately like assigned to them in school. So that's the thing about me. Like, if I had just like stuck to what was taught in the schools and didn't do anything outside of on my own free time, like any research on my own time, yeah, I would probably not be as well informed as I am now. But that's because I'm a person who I love history. Like, I'm passionate about it. Like, that's what I dedicate myself to learning, and political commentary, and such, because this is, we're in a stage in world history that, I mean, of course it's unprecedented because we're just like living in unique conditions, but we're really at a crossroads. And in a lot of sense, we've already picked a path that isn't good. Chances are the world's not going to get better. Again, this is what the show is about, right? It's the collapse. It's just what we've had to deal with, the situation that we're living with. And people want to ignore that. And that's okay. People want to ignore that. I understand that not everybody's going to have the time to research. And, I get that. Because normal people live normal lives and they just want to keep their head low. And it's just whatever, But again, ignoring this isn't going to keep them safe. And that's just the lesson that they have to learn on their own. And again, if nothing really comes of it and everything turns out okay, well then great. That's the attitude that I have. I say these things that are, for a lot of people, they're scary and they're, it's hard to unpack. And so they transfer that fear not on this like abstract issue, like these social issues, these political economic issues. They transfer that fear onto the person who's telling them about it. Even though I'm not in control of anything, like I'm just telling you what's happening, but now you're afraid of me, not because of anything that I'm saying, like, oh, we should do this. It's more just like, this is what's happening. And again, that's just them. That's just people living in fear. Like, I'm under no illusion that there are people who are close to me who would absolutely like turn me into the feds. And they've probably already said something because, I don't know, people gossip, and there's a lot of people who are snakes, and they don't care about justice, or they don't care about doing the right thing. So who knows? I don't know, man. Like, we're going to enter a stage very quickly where people are going to start like turning their neighbors, their family, their friends in. I mean, this is what's been set up. It's going to happen. Like, we're like this fascism is escalating. I mean, it's already here. The fascism is already here, but it's escalating to a point where it's really going to be like people turning against each other. And it's already happening. It's just like going to escalate. And we're seeing so much police brutality. We're seeing this normalization of dehumanization, death, and particularly of like the most vulnerable portions of our society. So like just recently we witnessed the execution, the lynching of a homeless person in New York by the name of Jordan Neely. So this is something that's been making the rounds, and it's really a tragedy to see that happen, to see this man who was homeless and mental distress literally like having a breakdown because he's starving, because he has no food or water, and he's saying, I need help and I'm fed up, somebody help me. And of course, like, he's agitated, but like, what the fuck? Like, if you're starving, if you're schizophrenic, probably with drug issues, like all these litany of problems, like, yeah, you're going to be a bit erratic. Like, that's just, but they only see the person at the end of that stage and not their whole life story. And then it comes out that like he's actually like a Subway performer, pretty regular, like beloved Subway performer, Michael Jackson impersonator. And he was good. I mean, like, some of these videos, like, he was like a really good dancer, and he's young, and he's like really like getting it, and people are like, oh wow, like people liked him. And then who knows what happened, but then he ended up being homeless, begging for food and water. And then this fucking Marine, ex-Marine, chokes him out 15 minutes, just like kill him, and then he gets away scot-free. And then of course you see these conservative dickheads making excuses of it because they just want to normalize violence. They're violent people, conservatives. Like, again, like there's so much talk of unity, of like, oh, we should learn to get along. No, these people are fucking Nazis. There's no space for any sort of compromise or friendship with these people. There's just none. They're not interested in it. There's very real agitation. Like, these people are primed to start a Holocaust. Like, they're pretty much saying they want to start a Holocaust. And then there's another incident that I'll touch upon later that explains even further just how they've been agitated. These conservative talkers and commentators, which to avoid any legal issues, I won't name, but these shooters and these people, they're naming them. So whatever you want to say on that. But at least in the instance of Jordan Neely being executed for being a homeless person, being an inconvenience for commuters, these bourgeois commuters, it's like, oh, well, that's just it. Like, we just gotta kill homeless people if they become a problem for us, because that's normal. And this is interesting, just speaking as somebody who has lived, like, temporarily, like I was living out of my car. So, like, I've experienced firsthand what this homeless crisis is. And it's a crisis. It's an existential crisis. It really is. It's apocalyptic in some of these places. I still think back on my time in Albuquerque. There were so many homeless encampments and people just like walking around with like shopping carts, and I'm just like, holy shit, like wow, like this is crazy. This is inhumane. This is a violation of human rights. That this is okay and normalize it, and it's their fault that they're homeless. And then if you talk about putting these people in homes, oh, well, they're just going to mess up their homes and they're not going to take care of the place. Well, I've delivered to plenty of houses as a DoorDash driver, or apartments where like these people, they have jobs. I mean, they can afford a place to live, and they don't take care of their homes. So like, yeah, it's just like, the cruelty is the point. The dehumanization is the point, because capital is more important than human lives, and that's freedom. That's true freedom and liberty. But hey, it's like, at this point, it's like all I can do is comment on it, and I wish I would be a little more active and like with political organizations. Again, I just don't have the time for it. But yeah, man, it's like at this point, it's like you don't even really have to like, because there's talk of like, oh, well, you just want to overthrow the government. It's like, no, the government is going to collapse and implode, because like there's no will to actually fix anything to make sure our infrastructure is intact. Like, don't even get me started on infrastructure. We'll talk about that in a second. But the infrastructure, the people, like taking care of the people, like no, like you're on your own, fend for yourself. And then, it's like if you actually understand like history and the fall of empires, the collapse of empires. Doesn't matter how like professional and strong the militaries are, if the conditions at home have deteriorated, if there's just complete dysfunction and inefficiency with the infrastructure, if the people aren't being taken care of, like the empire implodes. That's what happens every time. The elites are disconnected, they're hoarding wealth. And you can look at any empire, the Roman Empire, all the different dynasties in China, like all these different empires in history. It's always a consistent theme where there is complacency, where the elites are just completely disconnected and corrupted. They have no interest in looking out for the people. They have no interest in maintaining the infrastructure so that the country or the nation, the empire, can actually like function. Like none. There's just no interest. And then it keeps getting worse. And again, it's not me. I'm not doing it. I'm just the one talking about it. But hey, if you talk about anything that's bad, well, then it's clearly you're the one who's doing it. So, yeah, man. There's going to be a time where intellectuals and left-wing agitators, quote-unquote agitators, they're going to be increasingly isolated. And this is a very hostile country. This is a very hostile country to any left-wing or intelligentsia. There's going to get a point where there's going to be some real brain drain, where people are just going to leave. I wish I could be in a position to leave. I mean, part of it is that I want to be around to help my mom, but at the same time, like, the thing is like, they tell you, oh, just leave. And it's like, it's not that easy. Like, I have to have like a career. Like, I have to have something so that a country will allow me to go in. I mean, who knows? I can still look for countries to easily move to. Like, I don't know where I would go. It's probably, I don't know, Colombia has been looking nice. That was like a country I was like, maybe. Like, I would either have to move to like an English-speaking country, but then again, that like, it's either Australia or Canada. Definitely not the UK. I don't know if I would be in Europe, but it's either that or a Spanish-speaking country. Being that I'm partly a Spanish speaker, I need to practice on my Spanish more. But I could probably move to a Spanish-speaking country or Latin America. And in Latin America, there have been some left-wing governments in power now. So I don't know. I don't know if I would do that, but it's on the table. It's just I have to make plans. Or chances are I'll just stay here in Texas. I don't know. I really wanted to move away. But now, at this point in this stage, I've been kind of too, now I have too much to like just walk away from. Part of the reason why like I tried to like run away and like live homeless is because like I had nothing going on. Like literally nothing. Everything was going bad. And so like the attitude that I had was like, well, if I have nothing going on and people are going to treat me like some bum, I might as well do it in some place where I'm a stranger. That's the attitude that I had. Because like, it sucks when you're treated like, I don't know how to even describe it, but it sucks when you're like being disrespected and judged in like an area where you went to school with people, where you went to work with people who are like essentially family. And I don't really have any family outside my nuclear family in the state. But yeah, it just sucks when you're constantly being in these social environments where you're not really disrespected and valued. And I'm not saying that I haven't been like an idiot in my own instances. Like I've been a dickhead sometimes. I get that. There's just a lot of growing up to do. But at the same time, man, like I'm a person. I'm not a bad person. I made some mistakes. Who hasn't made mistakes? But dude, like why do I have to live in an environment where like people are pretty much being openly disrespectful and hostile to me? And like for the most part, I'm like a pretty polite person, or just trying to get along with others. It's just whatever. There's only so much that you can do. Again, this is where I get like I have to address my insecurities, because like if I'm getting judged, I actually like try to take that like, because I try to take it as constructive. So it's more just like maybe I'm doing something wrong. What do I have to change and address? But other times, like, there's nothing you can do. People are just being shallow and judgmental because they just want to look down on somebody who's different. And that's the only crime that I even committed. I'm just slightly different, and that is a threat. So I just, yeah. I mean, again, this state and this place is not my home, so there's really no attachments here. I really have nothing, except for my mother. That's the only thing keeping me even remotely around. And even that, like, I haven't been in Houston for like at least over a year. Like, I'm really trying to drag this out because like I do not like that place. I just can't live there. My mom talks about buying a house, and I'm like, I'm open to buying a home and we can live together, but I'm not doing it in Houston. It's just not happening. So, and again, like the area that I live in is not even like the middle of nowhere. It's just like, it's just like small town, country town. But I mean, it's close enough to civilization that like, I mean, if she wanted to go visit some friends in Houston, like it's literally like a 2-hour drive. It's just, yeah. But I don't know. I think for her, when she gets older, my mother, like I feel like living in some quiet, country area, like I think that would be good for her, honestly. But she's not open to that. So I just have to do my work and save up, and then, as I said, buy some land, buy a house, if I'll ever even accomplish that. Just trying to keep an eye on the housing market, which could go either way. I mean, again, I'm just keeping an eye out because it's just like there's just so much that I have to do, and just plan for, and eventually start a family. Again, like I don't even have like a dating life. Like it's just non-existent. It's just like I don't know, man. I'm just getting by. Like I just work, I play my games, and that's really it. Like this summer, like I have no plans for any vacation because I have to work. That's all I have to do. Like I can't do anything else. It's just whatever, man. Just get by, Just survive. That's literally just my life. It's that end mission in Halo Reach, and it's literally just objective survive. That's literally it, man. And yeah, I don't mean to be all depressing, but like this is just like the situation for like not just me, like a lot of people right now. We're just doing what we can. But again, I was talking about Jordan Neely, and I was talking about just how there is this rationalization of dehumanizing the poor, and it's just again, you saw in so many outlets, so many media outlets, where they try to frame it as like, oh, there was an altercation and he tragically passed, or it's just like, no, he was murdered, he was fucking lynched, okay? And it wasn't just the guy doing the chokehold. There was like some other guys like holding his legs and arms. Like, dude, this is like this. It is so normalized to hate on homeless people, and basically, if they're like viewed as a threat, not even like doing anything threatening, just talking loud, like literally, like that person, like he could have said, "Oh, here's some loose change. Here's some cash," or "Hey, at the next stop, I'll buy you a snack or some water." Like they have concession stands at these stations, so like just do that. But no, kill him, choke him out for 15 minutes, and the people want to act like it's an accident. It's like, no, man. He held that for 15 minutes. He cut off the blood flow in his brain. 15 minutes, that is death. So, I don't know, man. And this is not just like an incident that, like I have something personal to say about it. So, like, because this is like an issue with like these bourgeois commuters in New York, namely Manhattan, where like it's starting to become gentrified, where like the communities that are living there, they just can't afford to live there, because all this like white petite bourgeois, these yuppies, trust fund babies, they're moving in, driving up the rates, and it's just crazy. There was this person that like I knew, for some time. We weren't like too close, but this was just like somebody who I was familiar with. And they started posting pictures of like homeless people at these stations, and not even like these homeless people doing anything wrong, but literally just like, she was just like, "Ugh, this is gross. Like, Mayor Adams, do something about this, NYPD." And it's just like what really ticked me off, where it was like this elderly man, like all like gray haired, like literally just sitting down, like eating out of a cup, or like just like he had like a little sign, and he wasn't doing anything wrong. He's just sitting there. And then she had to post this with disgust. Ugh, that really pissed me off. And I said something there, and I'm like, this isn't okay. You're normalizing dehumanization. That person is literally just sitting there minding their own business. And this was like, I think it was like, I don't know, it was either in like January, or like it was still like the cold winter months. So like that person was pretty much like taking shelter in the subway to escape the cold. And then she's just talking like that about him. I'm just like, this is what I mean, man. They just normalize this hatred. They normalize this, dehumanization. And it's going to continue. It's not going to get any better. And again, this is like where's the logic? Where's the logic in like creating this housing market that is just unaffordable, and like, nobody can be homeowners. They want people to be renters. And even that, with renters, like the rates are too high. The rent's too damn high. And yeah, man, it's just like, where's the rationalization? What do you think is going to happen when the housing market, when the rents, property taxes, they become unaffordable and people can't live there? What do you think is going to happen? But you can't even speak to that, to these landlords or to these like capital owners, because they just want to, it's just the next quarter. We need growth and we need targets met. That's all that matters to them. Even if like it's getting to a point where customers can't even afford the products and the goods and the services, just keep raising it. So this is a collapse of their own doing. Okay, like they're creating the conditions for their own downfall, and then once the downfall occurs, then they're going to transfer the blame and scapegoat immigrants. They're going to scapegoat minorities. They're going to scapegoat the mentally ill, the homeless. Pretty much like, it's just so fascinating how when this like far right fascist like radicalization happens, like the blame is placed on the most vulnerable portions of the society. It's never the rich and powerful, or at least the rich and powerful that's like, oh, they're gay, or they're, slightly socially progressive. It doesn't matter how like financially conservative they are, even if they're like completely like, like, again, like the Democrats and the Republicans, when it comes to the dollar, they're on the same page. So it doesn't matter that they're on the same page about the dollar. If they're like slightly progressive or inclusive, woke in a sense, it's going to be a Holocaust. That's what's going to be. Again, as I said, at least like half, I wouldn't even say half, like a good portion of the right wing, Republicans, just any kind of conservative right wing affiliation, they are primed for genocide and Holocaust. That's what they want to do. They're going to frame it as some sort of defensive action because their way of life is under threat, but they're the agitators. They're the ones who want to kill, and they're the ones who are inspiring these mass shootings, as we'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, man, this is just like, it's crazy. It's just what's happening with this world and this country. and it's not getting better. It's getting more hostile, and we're getting now into the 2024 election, and who knows what's going to happen. That's all I got to say. And part of the hope with this new job, and trying to get more financially stable, is to prepare my defenses. That's it. I mean, that's all I have to say on that. But again, I have a Second Amendment right. I know we're having this conversation with guns and AR-15s in this country, but it's too much. There, again, I would prefer not to have a gun. I would prefer not to feel that I need to arm myself, but that's not the situation that we're living in, and our lives are very much under threat. And this is for minorities, being a Hispanic person myself, but also in the queer community, people of color, and again the working class. I mean, pretty much all vulnerable portions of our society. Women, I will never apologize for advocating for self-defense, for taking up arms to protect yourself. I mean, that's the right that's given to you by the Second Amendment, is it not? And I'm not even pro Second Amendment, but it's just oh, these rights are for me, but then if other people exercise it, then it's an issue. That's really what it is. I mean, again, you see some conservatives that talk about, they're suddenly concerned about mental health. Whenever there's a mass shooting, even though they always cut the mental health services and funding, they're always concerned about it. Oh, it's always a mental health problem, and then they do nothing to address it. But they only want to say it's a mental health problem so they can target their undesirables. So if a trans person wants to arm themselves, they can say, oh, well, they're mentally ill. You see, that's so they believe in gun control, but it's only to disarm their opponents, because they want to. It's power. It's control. That's all that matters for them. So yeah, I mean, that's sort of what we're up against, and there's just this political agitation that's going to keep getting escalated. And as I said, we have the 2024 election coming up, and that's going to be a clusterfuck. I don't know, man. I have no faith in the Democrats. Really none. If I participate in the election, I might vote for some legislators or county officials, but when it comes to I might vote for a senator, but with the presidency, I'm just gonna opt out for that because I just have no faith in it. And they with the presidency, they just put somebody out there and they're saying you have to vote for this guy or the fascist Nazi will get in power. But it's dude, one of their big things, the biggest thing was Roe v. Wade. Oh no, we got to put Biden in power to protect Roe v. Wade, and then we lost Roe v. Wade. And it's they're going to escalate that further. It's done. We're just waiting. We're just buying our time. And who knows? And there's some other things happening because a lot of the stability that we have now is due to the power of the dollar, and there's some things happening with China, with the Arabs. With other nation states, with they're essentially stepping away from the dollar. That is a major threat. And who knows what could happen with that, because if the dollar gets affected and no longer becomes the world reserve currency, who knows what happens here. That's all I got to say for that. So, as I was talking about, because there's so much to touch up on. It's just so much. It's just, it's you wake up one day and then you're like, oh, there's another mass shooting. Oh, look, there's another industrial accident. Oh, look, we're getting, something else happening and with Russia and Ukraine. Oh, we're getting really close and closer to an escalated conflict, or who knows, man. It's just so much bullshit, man. And you can only sit and watch. That's all I can do is just watch it unfold and just be well, just enjoy the ride. That's all I can say. But, as we're talking on, mass shootings are, they've just been happening. And again, there's been another mass shooting in Texas, in Allen, Texas. Really tragic. Yeah, it's just, that's just a fact of life here. That is, I don't even know. Because again, I am pro-gun. I am pro-AR-15. But I'm not blind to the fact that there needs to be extra measures to ensure that if somebody has one, that they're properly qualified and are not a threat to society. Now, of course, for those others who are like super, super anti-gun, just having a gun makes you a threat. But, at the same time, it's like, if that's your perception, then the gun isn't really the problem. I mean, there is a gun problem, but in this instance, when you say that somebody's a threat, it's not really the gun. Like, you already viewed that person as a threat. So, like, yeah, it's just, like for myself, when I bought my own rifle, like, I got so much, like, yeah, people just went hysterical, and they thought that I was up to something, and I'm just like, holy shit, like, this is what people think of me, based on no evidence, really. Just the only evidence was that I bought a gun, and that was it. And then now I'm a threat, even though, like, I've never been in a fight in my life, never been in a jailhouse, like, nothing. No history of violence. I've been surrounded by violence, but I haven't directly participated in it. So it's just like, again, people are gonna again, it's not even something that I did. I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I went and took some training courses, so like I did my part to try to at least have some certification to. And again, this is Texas, so it wasn't really even much. It was just literally like I did one range day, and there you go, license to carry. I'm just like, wow, this is too easy. Like I was like, yeah, this is way too easy. But I tried to at least have some training for that. But again, that doesn't matter for people. Or they would say like, well, if you want a gun, just be a cop. Like that was the response that I kept getting. I'm like, wow, like this is what, yeah, I don't know, man. Again, like it's just getting to a point where I'm like, there's just a disconnect that I have with others. It's really through no fault of my own, no adverse actions or any like irresponsible, reckless behavior. It's just that's the label that they place on you, and they're just set on that. But as I was at least talking here, because this mass shooter, and again, this is what the thing with these mass shooters is like, it's the most obvious like people, the most obviously like violent like people imaginable, like this guy, like I don't even know his name, but he was like some Hispanic guy in Texas, and he was a fucking Nazi. Yeah, like he had SS tattoos, swastikas. He was a fucking Nazi, and he kept posting all this like far right, radical content. I mean, he would like directly post screenshots, and he would say directly, "I'm inspired." Again, I don't want to name anybody to avoid any problems, but yeah, he directly he directly cited a TikToker. I'll say that much. There was a TikToker that who posts regularly about like leftist, liberal stuff, and other individuals, political commentators, and he's saying directly like, I'm inspired by this, and still like they're just like, we could have never seen this coming, or they're trying to say like it's a psyop, or he's Hispanic, how can he be a Nazi if he's Hispanic? It's just like, they're fucking idiots, man. But this is what Twitter has become. Now that Elon Musk bought Twitter, it's becoming 4chan. Like now I see all the time like some fucking neo-Nazi or some pedophile. I don't even know why like this is showing up on my feed, but it's just like, I guess because other people are calling it out, but it's just like, what the fuck is going on here? This is becoming 4chan. Like literally, like I don't even use like Reddit anymore. Like I went away from Reddit because I'm just like, this shit sucks. I mean, it always sucked. I should have never been on there, but I was just like, this sucks. And at least on Twitter I can talk to like other leftists, communists, and at least try to form a community through that. But now it's being overtaken by these fucking Nazis, like actual fucking Nazis, dude. Like, oh my god. My goodness. This is like one of the biggest social media platforms in the world, and then Elon Musk bought it, and it just coincidentally, all these Nazis now are getting all these followers and getting like thousands of likes and retweets. I mean, there a lot of them could be bots, but at the same time, like, maybe not. There's like a lot of like far right people that are active on the internet and organizing and inspiring these mass shootings. Like again, like the thing about when we talk about these mass shootings is that we're making it like a mental health problem, a gun problem, and yeah, those are real aspects of it. That is very true, but the issue, like this is kind of like the full issue of it, really is this far right, white supremacist terrorism. That's what it is. These are domestic terrorist attacks that keep happening. Yeah, some of them haven't been domestic terrorists. Some of them haven't been far right. So that's not entirely the case, but A lot of them are. I'm pretty sure if we actually like addressed, like if we actually like went ahead and like, dude, I guarantee you, if like some socialists or communists, which won't happen because socialists and communists don't do these things, but if somebody did this, a mass shooting in the name of socialism and communism, oh my God, you fucking kidding me, man? So, like, there would be outlaws, national terrorism registry, like, dude, like they would fucking crack down and purge all kinds of like leftists and socialists. But when you have like somebody who's like openly saying this, like openly parroting this neo-Nazi talking points, these replacement theory talking points that you'll hear from these commentators, from like Fox News hosts, like they like Fox News is just like hate propaganda, white supremacist propaganda. So this is like and they'll directly post the talking points. They'll in the instance of this Alan Shooter, directly say directly, I've been inspired by this right-wing political commentator. It is nothing. Nothing happens to them. But if a communist or a socialist did these sort of things, oh my God, dude, like don't even get me started. Like a national registry, oh, this is terrorism and a purge, and yeah, man, this is gonna happen. It's just, this is what we're living in, man. This country, I mean, people talk about civil war like it's a theory, like it's some idea. Like, no, it's real. It's a real thing, but it's it's low level. It's I mean, these are basically like insurgents. So like they're just in the shadows. Well, not even in the shadows, because they pretty much like post it openly. So it's like we're allowing this terrorism to just fester, and then they're going to get more organized. Because again, these shootings, they only really happen with like one person. So it's going to get to a point where it's going to get organized, where there are going to be multiple individuals that are going to target malls, they're going to target schools, they're going to target hospitals. I mean, pretty much anywhere where people are congregating, they're going to do that in the name of white supremacy, in the name of their neo-Nazi movement. It's just, this is what's happening. Again, like, I've been reading about stuff like in Italy, there was a period, not necessarily similar to this, but it's just like a low level, like terrorism, low level, clandestine operations, like called the Years of Lead, from like the 50s, 60s, all the way into like the 80s and like even early 2000s. So you had like right wing, far right, far left, communist groups, pretty much neo-Nazi, like literally like the Mussolini fascist groups, making their moves and kidnapping, bombings, assassinations. They're also dealing with the mafia, and this was in Italy for like for decades. And this is how I think about in our situation, like what's happening. We're not in the point where like we have like actual like terrorist groups. These attacks are really happening like one-off from individuals, so there's no real organization, but we're getting to that point. It's escalating to that point. And yeah, man, and I have no doubts that like if that were to escalate, that like the FBI and the CIA, in an effort to crack down on, if there are left-wing paramilitaries, they'll partner up with these fascists and these Nazis. They will. I mean, they already have. They already do that, and they did that all during the Cold War. So they'll absolutely do that at home, because the lefts they're more of a threat, not the white supremacist Nazis. No, the left-wing communists. They're the real threat, and that's what we have to hit first. Like, this is like something that I want to do, at least when at least we get the fall opened up, because I want to interview some people. I want to ask them. I want to be like, who do you view as a bigger threat to this country, Nazis or communists? Like, I just want to ask, and I want to see what kind of responses people have. Just, yeah, man, I really want to see, but it's crazy what's happening here. We're just, these things are just spiraling and escalating, and yeah, man. Again, and another thing that I've been observing is, like, as I said, because I talked about this homeless crisis that we have and how normalized dehumanization is. So this is where I've noticed that, like, in our society, dehumanization is normalized, and so it shouldn't be a surprise when we see the most extreme aspect of that dehumanization, which is these mass shootings. Again, somebody who goes out goes out to a shopping mall and starts shooting people. Like this fucking asshole. He shot a kid, babies. He killed a whole family. Like there's like a 6-year-old that got basically orphaned. Somebody who does that isn't a human person, who has no human feeling, who doesn't value life. And what do you do with that? And again, this is the most extreme aspect of it. But then we have to also acknowledge the subtler forms of dehumanization. With our housing crisis, where people who are homeless, they're animals. They're not even viewed as animals. Like if there was like a stray dog or cat, like they get spayed, they get neutered, they get they get their vaccines, or they put into a shelter for foster care. But when it's a human person, nothing. They're just stepped over. They're just stepped over, and again, if they cause any problems, you can pretty much just kill them, and then the cops won't do anything because that's secretly what they want to do. Yeah. And then now we're seeing with the homelessness, they're starting to make proposals to oh, we're gonna house them, but we're gonna put them on these prison barges, or we're gonna put them on some a camp, or so it's it's just it's oh, we have a solution, but the solution is a Holocaust. It's that's pretty much what it's gonna turn into. This is completely inhumane. It's just inhumane. And then it's just whatever. Yeah, that's what we got to do. If you talk to normal, regular people, that's why I don't fuck with these suburbs, man. It's these people, it's just full of Hitler particles. You take a Geiger counter, it's just gonna yeah, man. You don't even want to try it. Again, man, I just don't fuck with these suburbs, man, because it's full of Hitlers, little Hitlers. Yeah, man, crazy. But yeah, I mean, they would normalize it. They would say, no, this is the proper response, what we got to do. And these homeless people, they just don't want to get jobs. It's bro, do you honestly look at this person who's having a mental breakdown, who's starving, probably has some drug addiction issues, just get a job. Yeah, no, he can just get a job. Are you going to hire him? It's crazy. Oh, he should get a job. Well, are you going to hire him? Oh, no, because he's a drug addict and he has mental health problems. Oh, there you go. So it looks like he needs help. I mean, a lot of times it's it's you didn't even do anything to prevent it. You're just you've already made up your mind that this is a lost cause. Well, yeah, because you left them to fend for themselves, and now they're, oh well. I mean, again, as I said, there's just a normalization of dehumanization, very little empathy or kindness, and yeah, man, this is just a mean, grumpy place. America is just a mean, grumpy place where, you're on your own, and fuck it. It doesn't matter how close you are and what kind of relations you have. It's fuck you, I got mine, and nobody owes you anything. But hey, if something bad happens to them and then they start getting that same treatment, oh my God, again, it's crazy when you think about it. These people who are so quick to dehumanize the poor or the homeless, if they for whatever reason, I have this idea to make a Freaky Friday sort of situation where the soul of a billionaire could switch with a homeless person, and then that billionaire has to wake up and they're what the fuck, what happened? And it's just and they realize oh shit. I don't know. It's just a fun concept. I mean, it will probably never be made, at least with because we have this writer strike that's happening. So all the movies that they're gonna come out now are gonna be trash. It's just gonna suck. Yeah, but I mean, again, this is just dehumanization of people being left to fend for themselves, and when that starts to become the norm, there's no sense of community, of leaving something behind and fixing the world's problems. That's how things get worse and they get decline. I mean, I don't know, man. I try to explain myself to people and they just tell me, oh, just don't focus on that, just work and make money. And it's do you not realize that that's not going to keep us safe? Just ignoring the world's problems and just working and making money. Do you really think that's going to keep us safe? But again, they just don't want to think about it. Again, it's with Americans, if they don't think about it, then it doesn't exist. It's not a real problem until it becomes too expensive to ignore, until it really starts directly affecting them. So it's just, yeah, I don't know, man. Again, that's why I don't really have interest in running for political office in this country, because it's just like, I really don't like America. I don't like Americans. I just don't like this place at all. It is not a respectable place. I know some misanthropic, and it's just like, it's just too much. It's too much. Maybe with the new generation, because this new generation has become more left-wing and progressive, so in that sense there's a bit of hope. But yeah, man, like, we're just not leaving anything behind. There's no interest to leave a legacy behind. Our legacy is this decline and collapse. And then it's like there's this decline and collapse, which like is not even a secret. Like, a lot of these people who like openly deny it, they know what's happening. They know things are getting bad, but they're not directly affected by it, so they don't really have to make any effort to make it better. Which is like, it's like, which is which is incorrect, because like they will get affected by it. So it's like you're ignoring something that you don't think is going to affect you when it is going to affect you. It will affect you. But hey, you can't really say much else from that. I don't know, man. There's just some things where, there's only so much that you can do. There's only so much that you can say. And for some people, they're just going to have to learn in their own time. They're going to have to learn just from the direct, just from the direct experiences. And by that point, it might be too late. So that's just what's happening. So we have this dehumanization of the homeless, this dehumanization that leads to these mass shootings and massacres. There's no sense of community. There's no sense of leaving something better, because it's fuck you, I got mine, I don't owe you anything. You have to make your own thing, light way in life. It's like people will throw you into a situation that they know that you're not ready for, and then they give you a hard time because you're struggling, when they knew that you weren't going to perform well. When they knew already, again, it's like the cruelty is the point. The hard lesson is the point. And that's where, like, I try not to fall into this like mentality of just like hostility, or like just fuck you. I don't like having like this fuck you like attitude. I really don't. Like, I really try to get along with people, but some people are just, you can't. There's nothing left to say. There's just hostility. So there's just, might as well not engage with it. Why am I going to put myself in a hostile situation? Why am I going to subject myself to that anymore? Not to get too personal, at least about my life and my situations. But yeah, man, it's like I'm really trying to put my foot down, because I don't like this treatment. I don't want to be treated this way. And the problem, like, it's the problem is like, oh, well, I'm not on my feet and I'm not being stable and independent. And then when I finally say, hey, you know what? I am going to put myself and my mind to the path that I feel is best for me. And I want to be treated with respect. And I don't want to have to deal with hostilities. And if that's too much, well, then we're at an impasse. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I just think about the situation with my family, with my personal life. It's not the best, I'll be honest. It's just, we're just getting by. And again, it's like, it feels like I have to be the savior, which, like, already, like, if I'm in a situation where I have to save everybody, then it's already a bad situation. So it's just, and I'm trying to find work, but at the same time, it's like, I can't be put in a career field that I hate, because, like, I'm clearly not going to perform well. It's like, what logic is that? Put me in a career field that I hate, and then act surprised when, like, I don't perform the best because I don't care for this job. Okay, yeah, I'm getting off topic, but again, it's just like, there's just so much that's going on, and it's just like, there's only so much that you can do, and I really am trying my best. It might not be enough for some people's high expectations, but it really is like taking every last bit of me. It's just, there's only so much that you can do, and people are going to make their judgments. Even if you start doing the right things and start going your own way, they're going to find some other thing to get on. But now you got your degree, now you got a house, now you got to get a house, you got a better car, now you got to have a wife and kids, and then it's just like, it's just more and more. And then like, if I have kids, well, then now it's like, what are your kids doing? oh, are they star athletes, or are they gonna get like, it's like, dude, like, holy shit, like, yeah, man, it's fucking ridiculous. It just doesn't stop. Keeping up with the Joneses, that's what it is. So after a certain point, you're like, bro, like, fuck off, like, yeah. I don't know, man. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. Again, nothing makes any sense anymore. Like, I was talking with my mom, and these conversations that we have, we try to talk about our situation, trying to at least get better, buy a home, or trying to just get more stability. She's it's kind of sad, when you start hearing from your mother where she's like, I don't know what's happening to this world. Like, she's starting to have the same it's sad whenever like somebody starts having that thought process that like I've already had for like well over a decade. Like, wow, like the world isn't getting better. Like, what's happening? People are being rude and mean, and and it's just like, I mean, all I can really do is just be like, yeah, that sucks. But I mean, I already know about it. I already know what it's about. So it's just, you're just sitting there watching somebody have that thought process of like, things might not get better, and things are in decline. It's just, yeah, man, it's a real tragedy. It's just, just getting by, trying to fight and survive and claw our way throughout this world and trying to, get more established. But again, it's like, I try not to get too hard on myself about like my station in life, because like I don't have the same advantages or like the generational wealth that a lot of these people do have, that I'm getting compared to. Okay, like I'm up against people who have like decades, centuries of generational wealth and nepotism behind them. Okay, so yeah, they're gonna get better. They're gonna have that stability, and they're gonna have that success because they actually have the support system. Because generational wealth is the main factor of success and stability in this country. It is. All this talk about entrepreneurialism and all the bootstraps, like, it's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. It's just an excuse so that these trust fund yuppies can still run away with the bank, and then just set up an internship for their kids, or a startup company. Yeah, again, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all these fucking idiots, these billionaire idiots that everybody acts like they're suddenly like, oh, all these billionaires and these like shareholders that people want to act like, they're established and they're entrepreneurs. No, they had nepotism and generational wealth behind them. Okay, I mean, with Elon Musk, his fucking family owned an emerald mine. Like, dude, like, get real. Yeah, man. And again, I'm not even that kind of person. I'm not in a, because again, this is attitude that you're supposed to be like an aggressive hustler. It's like, I'm not like that. Okay. And that's just not who I am as a person. But again, like, again, it's just like, if you're slightly different, then it's a problem. Even if it's not something that you've done, nothing that like anything bad, but people just want to like judge you, like, oh, if you don't watch sports, or if you don't watch movies, or I mean, I watch movies, but it's like, if you slightly live a different way, then it's weird, and it has to be like looked down on, even though like it's nothing bad. So I don't know, man. Again, as I talk about like, oh, I don't have a tribe, and yeah, I really don't. Like, I don't have a tribe, and this is a very tribal like time that we're living in, where if you're not in the in group, then you're an outsider and you're a threat. So I just kind of have to learn to live as an outsider until I find my tribe. That's really just trying to build up for that. But we're talking about just these general trends in our society. I was talking about mass shootings, the homeless, dehumanization. And then I was slightly talking about infrastructure deals, because like, we're just having a declining infrastructure. So it's like we have this social decline, this alienation, this estrangement. I was actually like reading like a report that showed that like family estrangement is at like a record high, and like it's continuing to rise. So like people are becoming estranged their parents and children. I mean, I can speak in my situation. I just really don't have a relationship with my father. I'm just not interested in maintaining that. Sometimes with my sister, like there's some distance as well. Again, like I don't even know what's going on with her, and we're just not really seeing eye to eye. And it's not like something that like, oh, we can work and talk it out. It's just like it's just a fundamental difference that, in a lot of ways, like the best way to manage it is just not to bring it up. So again, it's not that I don't want to be involved, especially if if she plans to have kids, I certainly want to be a good uncle and to help out. But it's just like, there's just that distance because there's just a disconnect, So anyway, so there's that. There's the economic issues, the political issues we're having. There's this social tribalism and estrangement that's happening. I mean, it's really just like a breakup of all these different family and social connections. Again, like, a lot of the times, like I start losing touch with friends, and I don't even know what happened. If I said anything, they just don't want to talk to me anymore, and it's just like getting ghosted. And again, I'm not saying that like I don't have my own issues, and I'm certainly having to do a lot of growing up. But yeah, man, there's no sense of like, hey, let's talk this out because like you're my friend, and like if we have a problem, I would have the respect to address it and try to work things out because I value the friendship. Other people don't value it. So, I mean, if people aren't going to value me, then that's their problem. It just sucks that like we're at this stage where like if somebody is of no value, even if there's all this history behind it, oh, well, you're of no value to me, and then you're just gone, no contact. So I don't know, man. I mean, people tell you to make friends, and then it's like you put yourself out there, and then like you get that response. And again, I know that I have my quirks, so I'm not saying that like people are always like, it's not saying like, oh, well, I have no issues. Like, no, I have some quirks. I get that. It's just at the same time, you're dealing with Americans, and typically Americans are very shallow, very self-centered and tribal. It's just the way it is. Because I always find myself like getting along more with people who aren't from America. Like people who aren't from America, like I get along just fine, like no problem whatsoever. But then when it's an American, it's all these different problems because of, I don't know. I don't even know. Like I'm not doing anything wrong. Like I approach people with respect and politeness, and then it's just like I get this stink eye, and I'm like, bro, I just talked to you, and I just said hello. I don't know, man. It's just whatever. But yeah, there's so many factors. So we have these political, economic, social problems, and then now we're starting to watch this decline within the infrastructure, within our industries. And I have to say, there's been like, I'm still like in awe over this situation that's been happening in Ohio and East Palestine. I'm not too sure how to pronounce it, but yeah, that chemical, like the train derailment, the chemical cleanup, and I say cleanup in quotations because they really just burned it. They burned it, poisoned this ecosystem, this community, this giant plume of smoke that like pretty much like covered like portions of Ohio and Pennsylvania. Like it's a real like industrial like accident, and like they just covered it up and nobody talks about it. Like I guarantee you, if I brought it up at like some situation and be like, hey, like this is what happened. This like that should have been like a national emergency. Like some like it should have been, again like it was touched up on like some news outlets. Like they reported it, but it's not like they just said, oh well, here's an industrial accident. Like it's just like a normal thing now to have like this industrial accident and these chemicals in the air and in the water and the soil. It's like, dude, and these people, these community members, they're gonna get poisoned, and it's ridiculous what happened. And then so there's that media like silence. They didn't really like report on for what it is, which is like a national crisis. The president hardly even made any comments on it. Like he should have been straight up, just been like, hey, this is an incident. Like we should have declared a national emergency. The state didn't declare a national emergency. In fact, these fucking state governors and these fucking these senators, like they just like said like, oh, well, look what happened here. Oh, they're trying to deflect the blame like as though it's not their fucking state and their responsibility. It's like, where is the federal government? Like you didn't declare a national emergency. It's like if there's no declaration of an emergency, then there can't be a federal response. Like that's how it works. I mean, this is what they want, right? Small government. And then, like, when there's a crisis, where's the government? Like, dude, this is just, wow, man. I can't fathom Republicans and conservatives. I just can't do it, man. Like, holy shit. It's crazy. And yeah, man, this, poisoning of the community, this industrial accident is ridiculous what happened. Like a real cover up, a real like industrial incident, and still like nobody's going to talk about it. And then there's more of these train derailments. They keep happening. These train derailments keep happening. These industrial chemical incidents, these plant explosions. Like there was like just the other day there was one in Houston. Like there was a chemical explosion. Like this keeps happening. And then there's the thing too with like these Republican conservatives. Like they're saying now, what's happening? Are we under attack? Like you cut all these regulations and safety measures, and then your response to now this, basically like collapsing infrastructure that's like pretty much like exploding because you guys cut all the budgets and all the safety regulations. Are we under attack? Oh, we're under attack. There's a black op operation. Oh, there's a psyop. Oh, it's probably China. Oh my God! Don't even get me started with the balloons, the Chinese spy balloons. It's fucking idiot shit. I mean, they're trying to start a war with China now. It's just fucking ridiculous, man. Like, what the fuck is going on? This country is losing its mind. It is mass psychosis, and it's ridiculous when you're like pretty much like one of the last remaining like sane people to be like, no, this is what's happening, and then you're in a room with people who like just don't want to listen to it, or like because now you're like the outlier now that you're woke, right? Now you're a threat, and then that's what's gonna happen, man. I said earlier about like a brain drain, but yeah, man, like it's really gonna get to a point where the people who are gifted and skilled and intelligent, they're gonna leave. And that's the thing too. When you're somebody who actually like comments and who's actually like who has a policy platform, like, hey, this is what we can do to fix these problems. The only response that you get is, well, why don't you leave? Because all you do is talk about, you're only negative and you only talk about what's going on. And it's just like, and again, that's their response because they don't have a policy platform. They're not serious about fixing anything. They're complacent. They don't have a serious ideology or any platform, and they're reactionaries. So their only response to any sort of criticism or any sort of like, proposal, a policy proposal, is to attack it because they're afraid of change, even when this change is beneficial, and it's so obviously beneficial. Like, again, like I'm treated like I'm some like radical, like, oh, far left radical. It's like what's so radical about my platform? Fix the infrastructure, provide wealth redistribution, affordable healthcare, housing. These things that like. Like for a long time, I was like a social democrat or like like or democratic socialist and social democrat. It's like there's two different terms, but when I was getting into the left wing, when I was like still like left to center and still like, hey, we could have like these billionaires and these elites, they could still be making a whole bunch of money. They could still have all these billions of dollars, and we could still have people living comfortable lives. Okay, I mean that's what was in the 60s. Like there was like 90% marginal tax rates, but now we don't have that, and now it's purely like they're not interested in that. They're not interested in providing comfortable lives for us. They want to take everything. That's what capitalism does. It's domination. They want to take everything, and they want us to be slaves. They want us to we're cattle. That's what we are. Okay, we're just. And again, this is a collide of their own doing, because this is not sustainable and it's not going to lead to anything productive. It's going to be just further decline as they take more and more. The middle class is shrinking. I mean, like you could literally just like speak to anybody who's like remotely like middle class, working class. Like literally everybody has some sort of financial problems. Like, man, don't you see that this is a trend now? Like everybody seems to have like financial problems, and like their retirement savings are going dry, or like they're drowning in debt. Like, isn't that crazy? Like pretty much like everybody is dealing with that except for like the uber rich, the real like owners of this country. But us people, the working people, we have to struggle. And for what? Because this is somehow productive for us? It's like poverty is like some character building experience, apparently. But no, it's a death sentence. And then, again, as I said, we have these the decline in the industries and our infrastructure, which is really going to disrupt our quality of life. And again, I mean, like, with I live in Texas, our power grid, oh man, it's a fucking joke. I'm worried about this summer because it's going to get hot, and who knows, they could start doing rolling blackouts. At least I will say this much, at least because I was looking into the grid in my area, and it doesn't appear that I'm part of, like, my county is a part of, like, the larger, like, Texas grid. Like, I think we're like in, like, the Arkansas, Louisiana grid, which is like a little more sustainable. Like, it's the actual, like, federal grid, because Texas is independent. They have the ERCOT system. So at least in that sense, I kind of have some faith that, like, we'll have consistent power, because now we're getting to the summer. It's going to start getting hot, or at least currently with their with our weather conditions, it's been mainly gloomy and raining, and so, like, I don't mind that, because, like, we're gonna need, because, like, the heat gets bad. Like, it can get, like, up to 112. I mean, dude, like, it's gonna start getting to 120 at certain points. Like, it's just gonna happen. And then also we have hurricanes. Like, the hurricane season's coming up, so I have to, like, prepare for that. I mean, the good thing, at least with my food stores, like, I have some canned goods, some extra rice, and I've been going to food pantries and saving up on food. So so in that sense, I am a bit prepared. At least you need like 2 weeks worth of food and water. So again, I have some preparations, but at the same time, it's just like, who knows what's going to happen. And again, I get treated like I'm weird because I have my preparations, but then, like, I've lived through, like, multiple natural disasters where, like, the grid pretty much collapsed, and then we had to fend for ourselves. So it's just like, I'm not doing this preparations because, I'm being radicalized by some, like, random, like, internet user. Like, no, these are my direct lived experiences. So, like, I have to do this because I've already experienced, a situation and a crisis, and I have to make sure that I'm ready. So, it's just people are gonna, again, people are complacent nowadays, and nothing goes wrong, and everything, you have to think positively, even though, like, it's so very obviously, like, we're in, like, a decline of civilization. It's so obvious. But again, you guys stay positive and you guys stay hopeful, even though, like, nobody's really doing anything to make things better. It's whatever. So we have these political problems, the economic problems, we have the infrastructure, these industry collapse, we have natural disasters, and we're just holding out. It's just like, man, you just see the storm on the horizon, and you're just like, all I can do is see it and make ready for it. And it's not even like a storm where it's like, oh no, it's going to hit exactly at this minute. It's like, it could speed up or it could slow down. Like, we don't know. It's just, we don't know. And that's why I talked a little bit about the dollar, because that's really the only thing holding this place together. So China and the Arab states, the oil, the OPEC essentially, I think even now Brazil and some Latin American countries, they're starting to make deals and they're starting to trade in local currency. So they are planning to step away from the dollar. And that is pretty big, actually. Like, that's going to be, who knows what's going to happen from that, because, like, they want to step away from the dollar. And that's really the only thing that the dollar is. That's the only thing that's propping up the U.S. is the power of the dollar. Even though, like, regular people nowadays are barely getting by, all these goods, these consumer goods, the inflation has made them unaffordable. Wages have been stagnant for, like, over 30 years now. Like, minimum wage, no minimum wage increase. Like, there's no, they talk, it's crazy. Like, oh no, we can't raise the wages because that's going to cause inflation. Like, well, we got inflation and no wages have been increased. So maybe that's a crock of shit. Maybe that's some bullshit. You're just excusing that. All kinds of excuses to protect the owners and the billionaires, but not the people who are working, who actually make the companies like function, who actually like, who were essential workers. Remember that? Essential workers. But then there was no wage increases, and all these essential workers and like the grocery stores and like these restaurant line cooks, they fucking died. They died from COVID. Or, they're either dead, they either died, or they're like disabled now with long COVID. Like, dude, man. Like, again, some people still have this like haphazard attitude with COVID that's just like, oh, well, it's just, you just got sick. And it's like, no, man, this is an autoimmune disease. It's essentially like a terminal illness. Now there are reports coming out that this could accelerate dementia, Alzheimer's, like, or a predisposition, I think even to cancer, like just in autoimmune, dysfunction. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. And I've been really lucky not to get sick. Like, I haven't had the cold or the flu. I've been so isolated. And that's what I have to do now because nobody else takes anything seriously. Man, I don't know, man. Again, there's only so much you can do. You're going to look out for yourself. And again, I want to do my part to look out for my family, but they don't see the threat. They don't see these issues and problems that are arising, especially since like in a lot of ways, like we really need to make plans to leave the state, but they don't see it. They don't really make any, like they have no interest in leaving. And I get that because it's not easy to just pick up and leave, but it's like, dude, like this place is going to get bad. And this is not our home. It's not. Texas is not my home. So I have why would I stay in the place that like I was pretty much dragged to, that has been like a consistently negative experience, that's like increasingly becoming like, this is like literally becoming like a neo-Nazi like ethno state, like a Christian fascist state. Like this is what's happening in Texas, or just in the South and all these red states. Like this is not a safe place. They don't see the threat, but this is not a safe place for us. And again, there's going to come a point where I have to pick me or them. And I mean, again, like I've said, once I get in a position to actually make a move, like I'm probably going to take it, and I'm going to get judged for it. Oh, you're leaving us? It's like, bro, you guys want to keep staying in this place and it's going to keep getting worse? You do that. Because I already told you enough times, and it's really obvious what the state is becoming. But yeah, again, Americans, they don't want to think negatively about anything. Everything has to be positive, even when the threat is real and like it's like literally right in their face. But yeah, there's no threat to be seen because it's not like actively like it might target some other groups, but hey, it's not going to target me, so I'm going to be okay, which is bullshit because it's always going to escalate, especially since we're literally Hispanic. We're fucking Dominicans. Like, what? Oh yeah, no, these neo-Nazis, they're going to give us a pass. Get the fuck out of here. My God. Wow, man. I just don't know, man. Again, it's like it feels like we're prisoners here. Like, it really does. Like, I feel like a lot of Americans feel that way. Like, we're literally prisoners. Like, we're just stuck here and there's no escape. And that's by design. Like, they want us to be trapped here. Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been talking and rambling. I was just like, again, like I didn't really have like an organized like articles or anything to really touch up on. It's just like some major world problems and issues. So next episode, I'll certainly have more concise topics and articles to discuss. I just want to at least produce this and get something out quick, just to like, let y'all know that I'm alive, that I'm still trying to make content. I just got sidetracked and with some obligations. But yeah, I mean, like, I got to get this degree. I got to get my career established. And again, I mean, this is the stuff that I want to do full time. Like, I really would like to do it full time. But, it's just only, I still have to support myself. So that's just, yeah. So, the point of getting a career and getting more established is so I can get the funds together to really, like, get the computer set up, the hardware, just to produce content. Yeah, as I said, I'm studying history, so I really would like to produce videos and little documentaries. Like, I've produced some videos for the YouTube channel, which it's just what I can do at the moment. I mean, it's not the best produced content, but it's just what I can do. I would like to very much expand on that, and at the same time also just producing like let's plays, because I would like to be, I like playing games, and it would be nice to just do some let's plays, and yeah, whatever, man. Again, I've seen all kinds of people do this stuff, and it's like, why can't I do that? I can certainly do that, and I'd have a lot of fun doing it. So it's just like, it's not impossible. It's just there's a lot of work to be done. So that's all I have to do. But at the same time, it's like I have to still provide some stability for myself and get established in a career. And then from that, who knows? Yeah. I don't know, man. There's just so much to unpack. There's so much to unpack. There's so much to get done. Trying to enter the next stage of your life. And yeah, I'm behind, but really, like, I feel okay with my position. So it's not even like I feel okay with the position that I'm in, especially considering everything that I've lived through, my experiences and the setbacks that I've had. Even with all of that, I'm pretty proud of myself for getting this far. I just wish it didn't have to be like a literal fight for survival. It did not have to be like this. I feel so jaded and so tired. Like, dude, oh my God. I just feel like, I don't know. Like, I feel so tired all the time. I just like, I'm really out of my wit's end. Even when I'm like, I'm doing everything right and it's just never going to be enough. And I'm just going to be stuck in this rat race. But it's my fault. It's my fault that I'm in this situation. Because it's more convenient to say that. It's easier to say that than accept, helping. People want me to learn to be self-sufficient and, be independent. All right. But then like, oh, you never come around. You're so distant. It's like, bro, like you literally say to my face that you don't owe me anything, but then you don't seem to understand that I don't have no interest in maintaining a relationship with you. Even though like, we're not even like family. We're not even blood. Like you're just some guy that my parents knows. You're just people that I'm forced to associate with because my parents took me to, some house for like a party, and then this is somebody who I have to call tío when like we're not even related, and then it's just like, get the fuck out of here, man. Again, there's really nothing for me here. So yeah, I don't know how long my mom will be around, but it's just what I can do, and then after that, I'm a free agent. I can literally do whatever I want. All right, people want me to find my own life and my own path. That's exactly what I'm doing. It's just the path that, my path is different from their planned path for me. And again, like, my life isn't about you. This is my life, and I want to step up and be I want to step up and be somebody who can live up to my responsibilities. But I also need to ensure that whatever path I take in this life, that it's a path that provides fulfillment and happiness. So if it's not providing that, then I have to pick a different path, because it's only one life. Like, what the fuck, man? I can't, like, it's not enough for me to have a job that pays well. Like, I have to have some purpose with it. Because it's like, dude, like 40 hours a week for a job that like you don't even care about because it pays good. It's like, that's not a way to live. And I'm going to do that for like the next 40, 50 years of my life. And then it's just like, and then like, I already know I'm not going to retire. Like, that's just not something that's going to happen. It's just like, but that's life. That's just the way it is. But no, that's the way it is. My goodness, man. Yeah. And then we got climate change and all these other problems that are getting worse. And yeah, man, it's just, things are good now, and I will savor that. And for me, like, every day is, I'm not one of those people where it's like, oh, every day is a gift. But, there's some moments where I'm like, man, this is pretty good. It's like I did this. Of course, there were some people who helped, so I'm grateful for that. I just wish I could get more support. But, at the same time, like, a lot of it has been me. A lot of it has been me trying to do my part, trying to get by and be more established. And yeah, man, it's just, I don't know. Again, that's just, all I can do is do my part. Stay out of trouble, go to school, finish up this degree. That's all I can do. But, there's some solace that I have in knowing that like literally everybody else is winging it. I mean, so it's just, even if somebody wants to pretend like they have it all figured out, they really don't. Again, those are the people who are like so cocksure about themselves. Those are the people who are the most lost, who are the most, I guess, disconnected. And again, I really try to avoid being in a situation where I'm surrounded by like shallow, hostile people, sarcastic or passive aggressive. But you can't always avoid it. So it's just, it's just how you live. It's just the circles that I have to navigate. So I hope in due time I can find the proper social circle where at least there's a common understanding where I'm not like I'm not feeling completely alienated. Like when you're in a situation where like you're in the company of others, and like even if y'all get along, like you'll be in the company of others and like there's no like problems, but you're still alone because like they just don't fully get you. So like you might get along, you might learn to agree to disagree, but at the same time it's like there's just no connection. Like we have nothing in common. It's just, again, there's just so much there. But again, this episode, I mainly just wanted to touch up on personal aspects. At least I'm expressing some personal feelings. And I know, like, not to be weird about it, because it's just like, if you're open about some vulnerabilities, some personal aspects of your life, then it's like a sign of weakness. I don't particularly care because I want to be transparent. I really don't. Again, this is like, the reason I talk about my personal problems and, what, I'm trying to build up towards is because I already know that there are people who are in a similar situation like myself, who are trying to get by, who, don't necessarily have that person who they connect with. Or at least, I don't know. I just want to create like a safe space for people who are like dealing with stuff, either dealing with like dysfunctional home, abuse, trauma, who are feeling lost, or again, I would like to do that because I never had that. I never really had anybody to connect with to talk about the problems that I'm dealing with and the environments that I'm stuck with, and that's where that feeling of isolation comes in, because it's just like, I'm having these feelings, but then like anytime I express it, it's just like talked down or like it's attacked, namely by the people who are causing this pain. So it's just like, it's a relief to at least, because on Twitter, at the very least, there are others who are dealing with similar situations, and then there's a ways to connect with that. Other times it's just like, it's just hard because again, like, when I talk about all these quirks that I have, like, being possibly autistic, it's like if I'm in the real world, with at least, this social circles that I'm stuck with, it's kind of like, oh, don't self-diagnose yourself. Don't. You're just giving excuses for yourself. But it's like, no, man, like if I've had these like quirks and like these, behavioral problems that are a bit weird and people don't fully understand, it's probably because of this. It's probably because I'm a bit autistic. And again, like it's literally a spectrum. So even though like, I do talk pretty, I can articulate myself and, pretty, high functioning, that doesn't mean that I'm probably not autistic. So it's just like, I don't know. It's just like a reason not to like, it's like, it just sucks when like nobody wants to take the time to actually try to have sympathies or like try to like be like, man, like, he has actually experienced a lot. Like, no, it's just like, I don't care. That's just the world that I'm stuck with. So again, there's only so much I can do, and stay out of trouble. Just try to find new work. I mean, again, like I feel like I'm gonna get fired any second. That's why I'm trying to like find new work, because I don't know, man. It's just, again, like I'm just jumping from job to job because I don't know what to do, and this is not the work that I really care about. Like I really just want to have the position that would work for me and provide stability, but then all these entry-level jobs, they're like, it's literally paycheck to paycheck, man. And it's just like, I'm really trying. I really am. Otherwise I would have had to like, again, like this idea that I'm supposed to have like some 6-figure internship, like what kind of expectation is that, man? Like, dude, like, wow, I just don't get it. I really don't. And this is just like, this is, again, this is just a disconnect in the world that we have to live in. So yeah, again, yeah, this was just a bit of like, I guess more like a journal or whatever, just like an audio blog, just at least a release and let y'all know that I'm gonna get back into hopefully regular releases and podcasts. And the next episode I'll have more articles and proper like sources to actually like cite and to get that out. So again, this is just something that I have to just get out and just talk. Again, this is just one of those episodes. But yeah, as I said, I do have a Patreon and I have a YouTube. I do have like an Anchor sponsorship, so those are at least other avenues that y'all can check out and support me on. This is just at least something to at least get back started, because again, getting close to graduation, trying to get more established with the career. And yeah, I mean, the hope is like, that I can save up, get better, computer systems, hardware, software, and see what happens from that. But yeah, otherwise, I'll leave it with that. So certainly feel free to check me out on Patreon, YouTube, on Anchor. And yeah, otherwise, I just hope you all have a great rest of your summer. The summer's starting up. As I said, I'm just going to work. So at the very least, I can sleep in. So that's good. But yeah. So yeah, otherwise, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate those who are sticking around, and just try my best to get more established with this. But otherwise, thank you and have a great rest of your day.